We live in an era where the idea of freedom is exalted as the pinnacle of human achievement. The contemporary individual is encouraged to follow every impulse, to pursue every wish, as if this were the surest path to authenticity. But what if this conception of liberty is, in fact, a grand illusion? What if the desires one calls their own are something imposed from the outside, constructed by symbolic structures that traverse our language, culture, and society? The psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan dared to formulate this disturbing hypothesis. Our desires are not entirely our own. His famous maxim, "Man's desire is the desire of the other," carries a conceptual bomb capable of exploding the modern notion of individual freedom. This is not a conspiracy, but a confrontation with the very architecture of our minds. If you have ever found yourself questioning why, even after achieving something you wanted so much, you continue to feel a difficult-to-name emptiness. If you have realized that there are desires that seem to originate not from you, but from a strange, diffuse, external place, then this exploration is for you. Because, as Lacan would say, perhaps understanding the origin of our desire is the first step to finally beginning to be free. We inhabit a culture that champions endless choice as the primary expression of freedom. We are presented with a vast menu of careers, identities, and lifestyles, and we believe that by assembling a life from these options, we are forging a unique path. Yet, this very premise may be flawed. Psychologists have noted that a superfluity of choice often leads not to liberation, but to anxiety and dissatisfaction. This process is more insidious than mere marketing. Corporations do not just sell products, they sell concepts of belonging and status. But the manipulation is deeper still, shaping not just what you acquire, but who you aspire to become. The most coveted careers, the innovator, the artist, the financier, did you spontaneously decide to want these roles, or did you learn their desirability because society holds them up as pinnacles of success? We mistake the menu for freedom without ever asking who wrote it. If our desires are not entirely our own, what then is their origin? The answer lies in two powerful complementary ideas from the philosopher René Girard and the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan. First, René Girard proposed the concept of mimetic desire. The idea is foundational. We do not desire objects in a direct, linear fashion. Instead, our desire is triangular, mediated by a model. We desire things because other people desire them, and it is these models who endow objects, lifestyles, and even other people with a value we then imitate. As Girard articulated, man is the creature who does not know what to desire, and he turns to others in order to make up his mind. Our wants are, in essence, borrowed. Jacques Lacan expanded this concept. For Lacan, the other is not merely an individual model, but the entire symbolic system we are born into: language, cultural norms, and societal expectations. This other precedes our existence, ready to inform us of what is valuable and what we should want. At its core, our desire is not for an object itself, but for recognition from this other. We wish to be seen as desirable in the eyes of our culture. Together, these frameworks paint a startling picture. We are not autonomous agents of want, but mirrors reflecting the desires that circulate around us in a bid to find recognition and feel whole. To truly grasp this, we must examine the mechanics. Girard identified two forms of mimetic desire. The first, external mediation, occurs when we imitate a model who is distant, like a historical figure or a celebrated CEO. Because the model is far removed from our social sphere, this rarely leads to conflict. More potent and more perilous is internal mediation. Here, we imitate models who are close to us, our peers, colleagues, and rivals. Since we now compete for the same objects of desire, the model becomes an obstacle, and rivalry is inevitable. The goal is no longer simply to attain the object, but to triumph over the rival. This is where Lacan's concept of lac, manque à être, becomes crucial. Lacan argued that lack is the fundamental condition of human subjectivity. It begins in what he termed the mirror stage, when a child first recognizes its reflection and perceives itself as a coherent whole. Yet, this perceived unity is an illusion that creates a lifelong sense of incompleteness. As we enter the world of language, what Lacan called the symbolic order, this gap widens. Words can never perfectly capture our needs or feelings. There is always a remainder. From this fundamental lack, desire springs forth. Lacan distinguished between biological needs, which can be satisfied, and desire, which is by its nature unquenchable. The object we believe we want is merely a placeholder for the true impossible prize, filling the structural lack within us. This is why achieving our goals so often fails to bring lasting fulfillment. Nowhere are these dynamics more visible than in our modern world. Social media operates as a vast, distorted mirror, constantly reflecting what the other deems desirable. Every trend, every curated image, is a signal telling you what you should want. Influencers do not merely sell products. They sell a model of desire for us to imitate. This extends to our professional ambitions. We are often funneled into a narrow set of successful careers, not out of genuine passion, but because these are the roles society validates. We chase titles and salaries as proxies for recognition, hoping to be seen as worthy in the eyes of the other. And then there is consumerism, the ultimate promise to fill the void. Advertising exploits our sense of lack, promising that a particular product will finally make us whole. Each acquisition provides only a fleeting satisfaction before the lack re-emerges, and the cycle of pursuit begins again. Lacan had a term for this paradoxical, painful pleasure that goes beyond simple satisfaction, jouissance. It is the compulsive enjoyment derived from things we know will not ultimately fulfill us, a self-perpetuating cycle that powers our consumer culture. This brings us to a difficult conclusion. The modern ideal of freedom to be yourself and follow your passion can be the most sophisticated trap of all. The more we chase desires we believe are our own, the more deeply we are ensnared in the symbolic system that produced them. The system is designed to keep us wanting, to keep us feeling incomplete, because a truly satisfied subject is no longer a productive consumer or worker. What then is the way forward? Is it to eradicate desire, to retreat from society? Neither Girard nor Lacan would suggest this. The desire of the other is not a flaw to be corrected. It is the fabric of our social existence. One cannot escape it. The path is not escape, but lucidity. True freedom emerges not from satisfying every impulse, but from recognizing the structure of your desire. It begins with the courage to ask difficult questions. When a powerful want arises, pause and interrogate its origin. Is this desire truly mine, Or is it an echo of a peer's ambition, an influencer's post, a cultural script? Am I pursuing the object or the recognition I believe it will confer? The objective is not to purify desire that is impossible. It is to see the strings. It is to understand that the persistent feeling of dissatisfaction is not a personal failure but a structural feature of the human condition. By recognizing this, one can begin to loosen its grip and make choices that are more singular, even if they deviate from social expectations. This is the ethical dimension. To take responsibility for your desires even as you recognize they are not entirely your own creation. You have been told you are a sovereign individual, the master of your fate. The truth is far more complex. You are a creature of mimesis, born into a world of pre-existing meanings, your desires shaped by the invisible hand of the other. This realization is not pessimistic. It can be liberating. It frees you from the tyranny of seeking permanent fulfillment where it cannot be found, and from the shame of never feeling enough. The real journey is not about getting what you want, but about understanding why you want it. True autonomy is not the absence of strings, but the awareness of them. Now that you understand the architecture of your own mind a little better, the question is not what you will desire next, but what you will do with that desire.